Hey everyone, welcome to the latest episode of the most entertaining podcast. I'm your host for this episode, Toby, and joining me today are two TME regulars, Bari and Rafa. How you doing, guys? Bari, Rafa?
Good. It's good to be here
Very well,
again.
bro. Good
I
to be
think
on the platform.
yeah, I haven't been here for like 2, 3 weeks or something, but yeah, I'm happy to be back. So let's get to it.
Yes, sir. It's good to have the trio back again. Love to hear it. So yeah, today we're going to be doing our top five series again. We'll be discussing the top five right wingers in the Premier League. We've already covered the left wingers. You can check out that video in our description below. But before we get into this episode, we're going to be bringing back our new segment called the most entertaining game of game week two. Although this is probably game week four of the Premier League, this will be the second game that we're going to be covering for the most entertaining game. Last week was Southampton versus Wrexham in the Championship. You got to check out the video we did last week. Top five players that we have ranked for the Ballon d'Or. So to see our top five rankings, you can find that as well as we also check out that game. But for this game week, we're in Germany, where the most entertaining game was Werder Bremen versus Bayer Leverkusen. This was a six-goal thriller, and it unfortunately marked the end of Ten Hag's short stint at Leverkusen. It was truly an insane watch to see what happened in the game. Not to give away too much, you guys should definitely check that video out. It's in our description. Rafa, Barry, what do you guys think about that video?
I'll probably just say the game is more like it was just down to the mentality of the players. Because when you look at it, you see like 10 men coming from 3 goals to this thing, nick a draw. It's crazy. It's crazy on all. You look at it like normally 10 men, you're leading like you're up like 3-1, and you're like, oh yeah, the game is done. And but with this one, they actually came back. I'm just looking at it like the mentality of the um Leverkusen players. I say it was a bit fragile. I wouldn't say. I would say probably on the fact that the coach wasn't able to motivate them anymore. Yeah, so probably I say that's actually one of the big reasons why they've had like a rough start to the season, the beginning of the season in the Bundesliga. So yeah, it was a crazy one. 10 men, Werder Bremen coming back to nick a draw. So that's what it is.
Yeah, Barry, what do you think?
I think for me, I wasn't surprised that Leverkusen was involved in such a game, if I'm being honest, especially with how last season went for them under Javi Alonso. They were involved in a lot of high scoring encounters. However, the difference with them under Javi Alonso was the fact that they kept getting those late winners under him. You know, it wasn't late draws. It wasn't like late goals to secure a draw. At one point, it was like late goals to either secure a comeback or or basically to win the game. But Leverkusen under Ten Hag, just judging by the first two games, I think they seem to be like a new side trying to get accustomed to the new tactical changes. Because I mean, these players under Alonso for at least like what three, 3 years or 3+ years are accustomed
Mhm.
to a certain system of three at the back or five at the back, as the case may be. And he brought in a whole lot of new players, and then I think they just struggle to just gel immediately with the old players, especially with the new system. But then again, I think we should give credit to Bremen. I think their recruitment has been very smart, in the summer. Bringing in a couple of good players, bringing in someone like Mbangula from Juventus. They've got Nigeria's Victor Boniface now. That was a
Yeah.
deadline day deal. But they've got a couple of other young players that have added quality to the team. So I think I would also give credit to Bremen for sticking in the game and making it entertaining for us. Yeah, I think I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. I love the shout out to Werder Bremen. Definitely was definitely an entertaining game to watch. So definitely check the link in the description below to see Werder Bremen versus Bayer Leverkusen. Unfortunately, that was the end of Ten Hag's stint at Bayer Leverkusen. Although it was a very, very short time, I don't think he got up to 6 games, including preseason. So I think it was definitely more than just tactics, probably
Yeah.
something in the back end, because usually more time they would give you more. They would give you more time, just to call it that. So that was it. But yeah, let's get straight into the episode. Like I mentioned earlier, we'll be discussing the top five right wingers in the Premier League. The order of the rankings will be from fifth place up to third, with each person will give their suggestion for the position, and obviously like why they think that person is supposed to be there. So we're gonna have Rafa first, and then Bari. So we're gonna start with number five. Who do you have for the fifth best right winger in the Premier League, Rafa?
We starting from 1 to 5, not from 5 to 1. You said, yeah?
Five, sorry. We'll start
Five
from
to
number
one.
five.
Okay, yeah, five
Yeah,
to one. Okay, so for my fifth pick, I will start with Antoine Semenyo, the right winger at Bournemouth.
yeah.
I picked him because I say like last season we saw Bournemouth do a lot in the Premier League. We saw them beat. I think they beat almost every big team, home or away, and everything was all down to their defense. Everyone was talking about the magical Dortmund and Bournemouth defense. They could go anywhere, make a clean sheet, home or away. And but when you look at the Bournemouth side, all the attacks and everything was always coming. I know the dirty work. It was always coming from the attacker that is Antoine Semenyo. Semenyo was, I say, he was the guy that he wasn't just only bringing the goals, he was also bringing like the deals as well. He was bringing the tackles and everything. You see Bournemouth grind out a win. You see normally when a team wants to grind out a win, it has to be like a collective effort, like a whole team effort. Antoine Semenyo was the one that was leading in this department in this regard. All the aerial deal and everything, and even like when you talk in terms of like energy on the pitch, Antoine Semenyo was there. But that's not to take away the fact that he still had the goals in his side. He brought a lot of goals. I think he scored about 11 goals in the Premier League last season with Bournemouth, and this season he kicked up from where he left off, and he started the season alight, and it's been the same thing. We've seen him. We've seen him score a spectacular goal and on the opening day of the Premier League against Liverpool. And I'll say, yeah, in terms of like the top five right wingers in the Premier League, Antoine Semenyo is my number five pick. I don't see him staying at Bournemouth beyond this season. But yeah, that is it for me.
Lovely, Barry.
For me, it's Noni. It's Noni Madueke. I think Noni, over the years, I think the last 2 years in the EPL, he has shown that he's got what it takes to first of all play in the Premier League. He's got the qualities definitely. Since the 2020-21 season, Noni has completed the most dribbles out of any Chelsea player till date, and I think that's a remarkable stat, considering the fact that he's no longer a Chelsea player. And yeah, I mean, at this point in time, he's doing decent things for Arsenal. I think he has had a good start to his time at Arsenal. Um, he also just recently got like his first international goal. But most importantly, I think the reason why he's number five for me, number one, his age. He just turned 23 this year, if I'm not mistaken. Um, Very rapid. I think he's quite decent on his weak foot as well. But
Mhm.
one thing about him is the fact that, or rather, one thing I think he just needs to work on is his decision making in terms of what he wants to do. But to be honest, since he's put on an Arsenal jersey, he seems to be pretty much decisive now. So I think all that is needed is just the final quality, or rather, quality in the final action now. But in any other circumstance, he's got the speed, he's got the pace, he's got the power, decent dribbling as well. So yeah, I think Noni Madueke is one to look out for now and the future as well. And I really do think that he's one player that can provide good competition for the wingers at Arsenal. So yeah, number five for me, I see him as the present and the future. So number five, my pick, Noni Madueke.
I love the pick for Noni. I also love Antoine Semenyo. These are two players I definitely enjoy watching week in, week out in the Premier League. Yeah. Noni for me is definitely in my top 10. The thing about Noni is the consistency bit. But, I feel like this season, with what I'm seeing so far, if he can maintain it, I absolutely would love to put him in my top five for sure. So, yeah, so far it's Semenyo and Noni Madueke. Really quick for me, my fifth pick for right winger will be Anthony Elanga. currently at Newcastle, but this is off of his form at Nottingham Forest. And I think the thing that really intrigued me and I really like improved my thinking on Anthony Elanga was probably when we were discussing. I can't remember what the topic was, but I think our producer had Anthony Elanga for one of his picks, and he mentioned how he puts a lot of assisting and how assisting needs to be more respected in the game. And I think that one was one thing that really changed my thinking about Anthony. So yeah, for me, Anthony Elanga is my fifth pick. So we have Semenyo, Noni Madueke, and Anthony Elanga going to the fourth position. Rafa, who do you have?
So for my fourth position, I'm gonna go with the Hammers captain, Jared Bowen. Why I'm gonna go with Jared Bowen is because Jared Bowen, in terms of goals, if there's any player I know, will I say outside I would say maybe outside top six or outside top 10, that's gonna guarantee you 20 goals is definitely Jared Bowen. Jared Bowen is a goal scorer. He scores. He's literally West Ham's talisman. Anytime they need a savior or they need someone to turn up for them, if they need anyone, it's definitely their captain. He's been consistent for them for it's getting to like 4 seasons now at this point, and he is the reason I still feel like we've talked about before. West Ham are going to remain in the Premier League. If Jared Bowen is at his best, West Ham are actually firing and doing very well. So he is my fourth pick. I see him as someone that at 28, he is definitely at his peak. I feel this season we'll probably see even a better version. Or see a probably, we'll definitely see we'll see a proper better version than we've seen of him in previous seasons. This season is definitely going to go for like what he usually does or target like 15 to 20 Premier League goals. He guarantees you that. And yeah, so my pick for right wing is Jared Bowen. At hello.
Yeah, for me, funny enough, it's also Jared Bowen. That's why I was smiling when Rafa said Jared Bowen because I think he definitely deserves the shout. First of all, especially with his performances last season, I think he was really good. And a- aside from playing on the right wing, he can also play through the middle. Like he did a lot of times for West Ham last year, especially when they didn't have fit strikers or they didn't have strikers that were in good form. And I think Jared Bowen also has stepped up massively at West Ham since the departure of Declan Rice. I just think Bowen has not had luck on international duty. I think that's why sometimes I wouldn't lie to you. I've questioned his quality in time past because it seems to be that whenever he gets an England call up, he seems to be a drop in quality in comparison to the other England forwards. But at the end of the day, I think for players, you always need to sometimes play to their strength. And yeah, I think his performances for England can be debatable, considering the number of minutes he might have and whatnot. But for me, Jared Bowen is right up there. His numbers speak for him. He's always, I think we need to commend him for that. He's someone who, a very strong player, not really injury prone, and he knows how to score a goal, but he also knows how to create. And considering his trajectory, throughout his career, yeah, I think he deserves a lot of plaudits. But for me, in terms of recent performances, no doubt for me, I think Jared Bowen is number 4 in terms of the top 5 right wingers in the EPL.
So unfortunately, I'm gonna have to mess up the unanimous Jared Bowen shout for number four. I think what's weird about me picking with Jared Bowen, I don't have him in my top five. He's actually my honorable mention, and there's nothing wrong with Jared Bowen. I actually love him a lot, and I think the reason why I didn't have him in my top five is because of the way I consider, like I think about wingers, and I was thinking about why didn't I put Jared Bowen in my top five? And I think in today's game, not to say I feel like they shoehorn players into positions based off of the 4-3-3. I think that's the way. Like whenever players are coming up, they find if they want to figure out what position that player is going to play, they look at the 4-3-3 and they pick
Mhm.
where are you going to best perform. And I think
Yeah.
Jared Bowen more time would be like a second striker or like a number 10, but the number 10 has kind of disappeared. Like you can play the number 10 role in the 4-3-3, he'll be one of the two eights, right? But he's still traditionally still an eight and supposed to help come defend. So it's like really weird. So the thing for me is that like I would have loved to see Jared Bowen in a 4-2-2. He's more of an inside forward than an out and out right winger that's like holding the touchline. By the end of the day, he still plays amazing from that position because that's just what the game is today. And this isn't like a knock on him. I think he does amazing for West Ham. He's their leader. He's their talisman. I really love, what he came out to say in the media a few weeks ago because I think obviously West Ham haven't had a good start to the season. Unfortunately, I think they lost again this past weekend to Tottenham Hotspur. So right now they're not in a good place. They had a little bit of a challenge earlier in the game when like I think a fan and some West Ham players had like, a back and forth. Bowen came out to apologize, and I think in the next game they won. So he's a really like great guy for the fans. But unfortunately, like I have him as my honorable mention. For my fourth player, and it's the best right winger in the Premier League, I have Brian Mbeumo. Off of what he did for Brentford, the fact that he was able to score, be involved in over 20 plus goals and assists for Brentford after the exit of Ivan Toney, is really big. Because when Toney was leaving Brentford, I personally was like, oh my gosh, there's going to be a drop in quality. And the fact that they were able to like, maintain and even probably even like even make it to take a step forward as a club with both him and Visa, that last season was amazing. Obviously, both of them have now left the club. Visa and Newcastle, Bremer and Manchester United. But United have got an amazing right winger, and I have him as my fourth best right winger in the Premier League. So we have Jared Bowen and Brian Mbeumo in number 4. We're going to move on to the third best right winger. Rafa, who do you have as a third best right winger?
Okay. Before I get to third, just like you were just saying, you were saying something about how the way they shoehorn players into certain positions that, as it is, you just either have to be or you'll be in a 4-3-3. If you can't play any of the positions in a 4-3-3, you probably might not have a career in football the way it is. And basically, that's what you're actually not lying. I think any footballer today at this any footballer right now should be able to play like in should be able to find a position in a 4-3-3. You see a lot of footballers that you probably see them truly they could be like the inside forward or a second striker or support striker or there was I think back then when we were younger in the early 2000s there used to be the 4-4-2s. So in the 4-4-2s you probably had like 4 midfielders and it was they weren't probably wingers. They were like, or what you probably see them as like wide midfielders then, and you have like 2 strikers where one supports the other, that kind of thing. But it's no longer there again. And I feel right now there are players that actually fit this. They're actually like that, but I think it's just because of what football is right now, and they're really playing in a different position than what they're meant to be. And that's one of the. It's also part of what just as you said, Jared Bowen is that kind of player. Yeah, I see. That's why he was able to even play last season. He was able to play like as a striker for them. After what's the name? The striker had the accident. I forgot his name. The other striker had the accident. So there's the same now with my third pick. My third pick is also a player that is also similar as well, and it's the same guy you just mentioned for fourth position, and that's Brandon Mbeumo. Brandon Mbeumo for me, Brandon Mbeumo for me is my third pick for is my pick for third best right winger in the Premier League. Yeah, what do you want to say?
Mikel Antonio, that was the player you were trying to remember.
Yeah, Mikel Antonio.
Sorry, but carry on. Yeah, Brandon Mbeumo.
That was the West Ham striker that had the accident. So Bowen had to fill in his place for him. So yeah, for my right winger, the third pick is Brandon Mbeumo. Brandon Mbeumo is also another kind of player that you probably look at him on paper as a right winger. Yeah, he does everything, but if you look at the actual tactics, he's actually more like an inside forward on that right wing. He bombs in you see him from the right wing. Yeah, he comes in, but yeah, he gets you goals definitely. Yeah. To Man United now, I think right now they're playing like it's a 3-man attack. So as it is now, he has to play on the right. That's where it is. But and if you look at it, probably he's more like the guy that if you have like a target man or will I say like a striker that brings the inside forwards or the wingers into play, he's that kind of person that'll flourish probably. I don't know, maybe that's why they decided to bin Hoyland and go for what's his name, Sesko, the tall guy. I think maybe it's because of I said the profile that Mbeumo is. But yeah, that aside, it's still like Mbemo is one of those players we say that okay, yes, they are probably on paper playing a different position as to what they truly are, as to what they truly are. Because in my opinion, Mbemo is more of an inside forward. But yeah, he's my third pick. Is my pick for third best right winger in the Premier League. Last season, he hit 20 goals. 20 goals for a player that's no for a team that's not in the top 10 is actually insane when you think about it. And
Yeah.
a player that is not even a striker, when you also think about it, that's even what makes it even crazier. So Mbuemo is a very fantastic player, just like what Toby said before. Um, they had their main proper man, and that was Ivan Tony. He left, and everyone was like, "Yo, Brentford are gonna struggle and this and that." And yeah, we saw Mbuemo step up and was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do this." It's not just him and Wisa as well, the striker that was there, and you could see Wisa hit 20 goals, Mbuemo too hit 20 goals. That was actually very crazy if you think
That's,
about it. It was very crazy. Where Mbeumo is a fantastic right wing guy in the Premier League. You can't mention, like, in my opinion, just as he's third, you can't mention at least 4 or 5 players that are better than him in that position, and that's why he was able to go to Manchester United for £60 million deal. So
oh,
because generally as a good right winger normally in the Premier League, just as I was talking about Semenyo, you're sure that if you're doing well, it's not going unnoticed, and that's what happened with Mbeumo. After the season which he put in, he was never going to stay any longer at Brentford. So like I said, Mbeumo is my pick for this thing top 3 wingers in the Premier League. He's been a fantastic player. Maybe United have had a slow start to this season, but I expect him to still find form. Yeah, he's definitely going to find form, and he's going to still explode at Man United. He's a very good player. Even at I think he represents Cameroon, the national team, and he does so well for them. He's the one that carries them at the moment. So um, as he's a Man United, I feel yeah he will still do very well. So yeah, my pick for right winger and top three is Brian Mbeumo. Yeah.
lovely. Barry, who do you have for number three?
Brian Mbuemo, Brian Mbuemo. Rafa has said a lot about Mbuemo, and honestly, he has spoken my mind as well. I think I'll just touch on the fact that look, we have all seen the way Mbuemo has grown in leaps and bounds. We've seen his growth and development. Let's not forget that Brentford, like what 6 years ago, I think, came from the championship, and then before that, he wasn't even playing top flight football in France. I think he was playing in Division Two, talking about Ligue 2. So for me, his trajectory has been absolutely amazing, and that is just down to hard work and wanting to improve as a player. I don't think it's down to talent at all. And last season obviously was a breakout season for him, considering the departure of Ivan Tony mid-season 2 seasons ago. I think Brandon Buemo, obviously alongside Johan Wisa, they did step up. They had a brilliant partnership, and that season, him scoring 20 goals. I know Rafa said it, but hey, we need to mention that not too many
Yeah.
African players get to register 20 Premier League goals in a season. And we say this because undoubtedly the Premier League is the most competitive league in the world. So for you to be able to do that, definitely you've got top quality and you're a good player. And Cameroon's Brandon Buemo definitely is one of the top wingers in the Premier League, and that's what earned him that move to Manchester United. And
Yeah.
I do feel that, just like Rafa has said, I do feel that when luck shines on Man United, Umbuemo is going to be one of those players that is carrying the team on his back. And honestly, he will save them a lot, and his quality would continue to show. So yeah, my third pick as well, Brian Umbuemo.
Honestly, if you guys pick the same person for second pick as well, I'm gonna start getting really suspicious. But yeah, honestly, I don't mind. Brandon Bremo is definitely that guy. I definitely rate him a lot. He's definitely a top footballer. Manchester United have a good one. I'm glad Brentford got as much money as they could on that deal. But real quick for me, number three, he might be a little bit controversial putting him so high in the list, but just because of how he is changed my opinion of him in this calendar year. The goals that he scored, the bangers, the personality, like they're just the way somebody would lead a team that would just be like, wow, this guy actually believes in himself. So I picked Antoine Semenyo as number 3. I know that's
Mm.
very, very high in the list, but he moves me. That's probably just the way I would describe it. Because a lot of times when we just come to the Premier League, my first instinct is not to rate, and then you have to convince me. And I feel like I'm starting to get really convinced. And I think this number 3 pick for me is me projecting what I believe he will do off the back of this season. Because I think the way we mentioned it earlier, I forget. I think Rafa, you might have said this that you think this would be his last season at Bournemouth. I
Yeah,
definitely agree. So, like,
yeah.
I'm looking to see what he's gonna do this season.
Not just him. Sorry, not just him as well. The
Mhm.
manager as well. Iraola. I also feel this is going to be his last season at Bournemouth. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, the whole team.
I agree.
Will I say it's a fantastic team. Him, the manager, the players, all of them. Like, he's been able to pull like a nice squad. So, Semenyo
absolutely.
is. Yeah, I feel this season as well. Yeah, it's going to be his last season there.
Yeah, truthfully. Yeah, Barry, were you gonna say something as well?
Honestly, I was just going to say that I agree. I agree with Rafa. I do think that Andoni Iraola is a fantastic manager. Um, I mean, first of all, we saw his quality at Bilbao, and then as a player, and then him coming into Bournemouth for me, it's been fantastic. Honestly,
Yeah,
look, they basically lost 80% of their back four from
It's
last season,
crazy.
and currently they're in fourth position in the EPL. I
It's
think they've
crazy.
lost only one game, if I'm not mistaken. So that's
Yes, it
very
is.
impressive. That's very, very impressive. So, yeah, big shout out to Andoni Iraola and Bournemouth. And they should enjoy this season. Bournemouth fans should enjoy this season. The Cherries, they should really enjoy this because I don't really know if they're going to get a better season anytime soon. But hey, oh, best of luck to them, man.
good luck to their owners, because they're about to get raided. They already been raided, but like they're coming again. So it's gonna be difficult trying to keep these guys. They're gonna have to pay up. So moving on to the second position for second best winger in the Premier League, I would imagine we're all gonna be unanimous with the next couple ones as well. But let's see how it goes. Maybe something interesting will happen.
Uh,
So who do you have for number two?
Definitely. I don't think anyone is going to see from second to first. I think it's going to be like a proper unanimous. This thing.
It should be right, unless someone
That's
wants
what
to
it
be
is.
heavy.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
Yeah,
it is. That's what it is. That's what it is.
yeah.
That's what it is.
So who do you have?
I think my pick for number 2. I know you guys are smile. Is Starboy. Yeah, Bukayo Saka. That's the second best winger in the Premier League at the moment. Yeah, on his day, I think Saka is Saka is more like I think he's the well I say he's what you expect a Premier League winger to be. Exactly how you expect a Premier League winger to be. That's what Saka is. Saka is the kind of winger that he beats his man. He gets you the goals. He gets you the assists. And I think that's what a winger is meant to be in the Premier League. The Premier League I've always known the kind of person, the kind of way you look at a winger in the Premier League growing up normally is the person that you put on the wing, he's down, he takes one or two, and you see him, he's away. That's the kind of player Saka is. Saka is the kind of person that you put him down there. He takes on any fullback or anyone in the world. We saw him do that even at the Bernabeu last season. That's even when you say, oh yeah, Saka is proper world class. He is world class. He's one of the few world class players in the league at the moment. He is this. He's will I say yeah, I'll call him his Arsenal's talisman, basically. If Arsenal are meant to challenge or do anything on any front, Saka is will I say key to that. It took time before I kind of appreciated Saka. I would say it took a while, but I think it was like 2 seasons ago. I was like, nah, don't worry, you can't deny this boy's greatness. He is good. Normally, he's good. He gets you any kind of goal. The what's the name? He gets you goals from outside. He gets you near post goals. He gets you goals with his weak foot. His weak foot is also as strong as his left foot. He does everything you want your winger to do, and that's what Saka is. Saka is, will I say, is a kind of player that I think every season he's gotten better, if not for the fact that he's been rinsed as a player. Like, I've been looking at the way football has been going. We see a lot of players, they're like 23 and the player is pushing 200 games. I'm like, how? Why? It's true. Like, we need to be able to manage these players. Because if you look at old players, a lot of players retire with at least 400 or 500 games played. And you're seeing a 23-year-old having like 200 games. I'm like, bro, is this guy going to go until like 34 doing this amount of games? But that
Right.
aside, that aside, yeah, I think that's one of the reasons you look at the kind of injuries a lot of players have been having. But that aside, would I say I appreciate Saka for his growth. You look back at the 2020 Euros that was back in 2021. Will I say there were three of them that missed the penalty? There was Saka, there was Rashford, there was Sancho. And today you could look at out of those three, the only player you could say that's still on top is only Saka. A lot of them, I don't know, probably it defined all of them basically. Sancho before then was one of the best players. You see him and Haaland then. I think after that game, Sancho became a shadow of himself. After he made the move to Man United, he has not really come back. Same with Rashford. Rashford, as of that time, before that miss, everyone used to look at Rashford as Man United. Then you see every Man United fan, they were all in agreement that, yeah, Rashford will always be their, will I say, their poster boy and savior. But I think after then, Rashford never came back. And I was surprised to see bare Man United fans where, will I say, they were all, will I say, they were happy. I won't say happy. They they could see Rashford leave the club and he wouldn't touch them, basically. You can't say the same for Saka at Arsenal because you've seen Saka has been one of the best players in the Premier League since that time. And I think every season he's been improving. Both his penalty records have been improving. He's been taking, like, everything about him has been going up, 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 up. That's why I can say I called him the star boy. He is the star boy. So, yeah, for me, second best winger in the league is Bukayo Saka. Yeah.
Yep, Bari. Who's your number two?
Man, what a submission by Rafa. Considering Rafa's ties, that's amazing. That's music to my ears, to be honest, man. And that's the truth. That's my second pick as well. It's Bukayo Saka. Um, I think I'll just speak to his longevity, considering how early he broke into the Arsenal first team, starting off as a left back and then finally, being able to play on the right wing. I think just like Rafa, I think Bukayo Saka is a world class player, and I think from this season on, I think he will be managed better, considering the fact that Arsenal have now invested in their team. They've got someone like Noni Madueke, for me, who can be a starter for any team in the EPL. And they've got the young Max Dowman, and to be fair, Ethan Waneri played at right wing for Arsenal last season. So I think it's down to Mikel Arteta and Saka himself, wanting to be managed better so that you can get the best out of him. Because I think last season Saka was on a roll, and sadly, he got injured. He got that hamstring injury, and that was the end of his season, really. But I think Saka is a top player. I think he's someone who always wants to improve. And honestly, I see the improvements season in, season out. Is it his weak foot? Is it his decision making? Is it dribbling? Is it set pieces? The boy just continues to improve, and his strength as well. Upper body strength, being able to wriggle away from defenders in different ways. I think that's been it. And he's one player who might just even pivot from being a right winger. I don't know. He could be an attacking midfielder. He's got certain traits that could help him with that as well. But hey, no doubt, second best right winger in the Premier League for me. I do believe it's Bukayo Saka.
Nothing else to say honestly about number two spot. I also have Bukayo Saka as well. I'm an Arsenal fan, and one thing I love about Saka is the way that he's been able to step up to the plate and prove to us that he has what it takes to own that position for club and country. He joined Arsenal, and obviously at the time I think we probably had Nicolas Pepe as the starting right winger, or he had just come to the club, something around that time. I might be wrong, but it was a thing for me where I just felt like he was not going to be the guy to take over that position. He proved me wrong. He's been able to take it and own it, and now he's the bar in terms of like what people require for a right winger. Like Rafa said. So yes, I love Saka. He's giving me many joyous and happy moments, and like I'm looking forward to seeing more and more of him. And the thing about like the minutes, I think one thing that they are trying to create cult heroes. They're trying to create new legends. The previous legends had like 600 plus appearances for club. So like to do that again, they need players to play these kind of Pedri minutes, these Bukayo Saka minutes. This is what it means to be like the poster boys. So obviously they're going to try and manage him more. But those appearances, man, I know they're trying to retire Saka as like a legend. Let's see
Yeah,
what. Let's.
definitely.
Yeah,
Saka,
moving on.
Saka,
Go ahead.
Saka is sorry. Before I pick my first, Saka is one guy you say, okay, yeah, he's the guy that he lets every young black kid to dream, basically.
Mm.
If that's basically we say then it used to be
Just say it.
nah. Okay, I'll just say I'll say funny enough. It pains me to say this, but I feel Arsenal are a club that's like a culture club basically. Because I look at it down in the 90s, every black kid you dream, any black kid that wanted to dream and make it in football would look up to like Ian Wright, basically, and that was an Arsenal legend. I think it's the same thing. It passed down to Thierry Henry in the 2000s, and I think it's what they're trying to build with like Saka. And Saka is, will I say,
Now Eze as well.
and Eze as well, exactly as
trying
Eze
to build
as well.
something
Yeah,
there.
but Eze normally, no matter how, I think no matter what Eze does, Eze will never connect with Arsenal the way um, the way Bukayo Saka does with them,
True,
basically.
but I think like if you want to build that like that pipeline of
Yeah,
fans and heritage, you need these
Eze,
players who are these cult
yeah,
heroes, from London, from England that are hard that people can connect with.
Mm.
This now creates another generation of fans off of these moves right there.
yeah.
So yeah,
And if you think about it, like I've seen a lot of white Arsenal fans that are ready to give their life for Saka, basically. And like I'm telling you, like people that say, "Yo, Saka is Saka or nothing," basically. And you're looking at it. Sometimes I'm happy when I think about it, like, oh yeah, you can see that, bro. This boy has done a lot. Like I'm talking about like proper conservative righties that like at the end of the day, if they're not seeing Saka on the pitch, they could be crying and like, where is because that's how far that will I say that's how far Saka has done to will I say market himself and put himself up there. So it's not even just a thing of where um he's playing. It's not even a thing of like he's just playing and um a certain side appreciate him. It's a unanimous. Everyone sees his greatness. That's how good you are. And like I said, the last people I know probably back then, like it was Thierry Henry. Then you go back again, Ian Wright. These kind of players, no matter whatever thing, everyone just has to appreciate that this guy is great. This guy is good. And I think, yeah, that's the kind of way Saka is moving. Just like you were saying, yeah, I think Saka, by the time he's done or by the time he retires, going to retire like a proper Arsenal legend. If not that, he's probably like a cult hero as he is right now. So yeah,
yeah,
definitely as a legend at Arsenal. Yeah, but yeah, that's where it is. But it's nice. I love him. I love him as a guy. As I like actually, he's good. He's a good guy. I like
yeah.
him.
He's definitely someone worth respecting and rating. So yeah, taking it to obviously the first position, the best right winger in the Premier League. It's not easy to take this position as the best right winger. The Premier League has seen a litany, many super right wingers, super wingers to perform in this league. But yeah, to be this guy, you have to be scoring goals, making assists week in, week out. Also be like a stamina warrior in the sense of like you're always ready, you're always fit from the beginning of the game to the end of the game, and also being able to stay fit and not injury free is a talent in itself. So to be in this kind of position, you have to be one of the best players in the world, if not the best player, arguably for some. So Rafa, who do you have as the number one, as the best right winger in the Premier League?
I think the best right winger in the Premier League is something that anyone you talk to or just talk you or ask, everyone will tell you is one name, and it's one name that it's not debatable. It's not something that you could dispute the fact, but it is the Egyptian pharaoh, the Egyptian king, that is Mohamed Salah. Mohamed Salah is head and shoulders above every winger in the league. I'm not even just saying like the right wing or left wing, or it's every winger in the league, and that is Mohamed Salah. Mohamed Salah is above everyone. I think when he first came to the league, basically it was more like well, I say it was like how will I put it? It was a thing where they will say he was a one season wonder. I remember, or will I say, no, it's not a one season wonder. It was more like the goals are gonna dry up. That was what was always gonna be. The goals were always gonna dry up. And I think that season the goals are gonna dry up was what everyone was saying. And We ended the season. I think he scored like 42 goals that season. I was like, what? every game, everyone was like, the goals will drive, the goals will drive. This is just look. He did that second season, third season, fourth season. I think Salah has broken every kind of statistic that you could want to think out there, like in terms for a winger, basically in the Premier League. Like he has gotten you the goals and assists. I think even last season, if not that Henry kind of jazzed up that 2020 Premier League, that goals and assists. I think Henry did the jazz on that. He jazzed that thing. So anyone that tries, you could try. You can try, you can never break that record. Yeah, he tried, but it's still amazing that a 32-year-old could hit 29 goals in the Premier League and 18 assists. That is beyond remarkable. Like I don't even know what to say for him, but yeah, Mohamed Salah is, like I said, he's head and shoulders above every winger in the league. I wouldn't say the world yet because of that boy in Spain, but I still see Salah as, no matter how you want to put it, like some people will probably say, yes, he's the kind of person that doesn't beat his wingers enough. He's very stiff and that, or he's always just running behind. Yeah, just like we were talking about also before, we're talking about players not being, if you're not able to fit the 4-3-3 and this, but still, Salah is the kind of guy that no matter what, he still makes it work. You see him as a 4-3-3, yes, you see him on paper, you see him there. By the end of the day, he's no longer there. He's in the box and he's getting you the goals. And it's amazing. It's the kind of, I think more, you look at him more on the fact that he's a very intelligent player. He's very, because normally it has to count normally. Being able to, if you probably see the person here, you see the person there, just like the movements and everything, like you could tell that, yeah, he is very intelligent. So, let's say Salah is, he is, now I won't call him the best, but he's one of the best African players of all time. That's what I'll say. He's one of the best African players of all time. You could put, he's a very big shout, very, very big shout for one of the best African players of all time. Because I think in the Premier League, normally Premier League used to be the metric for greatness when you want to look at it. And I think he's done everything with his club. He has the goals record. He has won the league. He's won the Champions League. He's done even though and I like the fact that. And will I say, in spite of everything that has happened at Liverpool, he's still the one constant you could see. When he first started, there was the time when there was the Firmino, and Mane. Yeah, that was a very, very crazy attack. It was a very, very crazy attack. And at the end of the day, Salah was still the one that was the highest goals. He was always carrying that. He was, no matter even how deadly that attack was, Salah was still like, will I say, the crown jewel on top of that attack. Still gone down again. You've seen him try. They've remade a new one. When even they brought like what's his name, Luis Diaz, Darwin Nunes, and it was still Salah. Now they're trying to make a new one with what's his name, Isak and everything. And just like my producer pointed, he was still their talisman today. They won the game in the 95th minute, and it was still Salah that came to. It was still Salah that they had to. That was the person that bailed them out. So Salah, for me, is the best winger. He scores every type of goals. I think the one from outside, the penalties, I think everything, near finish, weak foot. He does every type you want to see, like as a goal scorer. And I think yes, some people might look at the fact that yes, he doesn't beat his man enough, or he doesn't dribble enough. But I think he complements that with goals. And at the end of the day, that's why we come to play football. That's why we watch the game, putting the ball in the back of the net. And Salah does that basically. He does that 9 or if not 10 times out of 10 every single time. So yeah, Salah for me is the best in the league. And I think the fact that he's 33, like I don't know when. I've always been saying, just like we've always been saying, the goals will dry up. I'm still saying it now, but he still scored again this weekend. I think some people don't even have him in their FPL as we're speaking, and it's crazy, but he's still going to get you goals every weekend, and that's the kind of person he is. He's amazing. He's amazing. He's, like I said,
the consistent. Yeah.
It's been clear. The consistency is there. No, you can't take that away from him. Like I said, Liverpool have had different attacks, and Salah has been that one constant that has always been there, and always been that one person that Liverpool could always look up to. He's not even just like, it's beyond the fact that he is a footballer as well. You look at the fact that even like I say, the Arab world as well. They look up to him. He's like a beacon of hope to them. Basically, you look at like everyone down in the Arab world, the Muslims and everyone. They look up to Salah. Salah is the one person I say, okay, this is the one Muslim player that has actually been able to sit at the top. I don't think it's ever happened before that a Muslim player was able to sit at the top or sit on the same table with all the best players in the world. I think Salah is the person that has made that possible. That's why all of them will always say, yes, Salah is their king. Everyone sees him as their king. I've always been saying Salah will go to Saudi Arabia. Maybe next season, who knows? But you never know. He's still killing it in the Premier League. I don't think anyone is better than him in the Premier League. So if he's going to Saudi Arabia tomorrow, it's on his own. It's going to be his own choice. Not that the fact that Liverpool are kicking him out or taking him out of the league. So yeah, Salah is the best winger or the best right winger for me on this list.
Bari, who do you have for number one? Like it's gonna
Yo,
be a
I
surprise.
mean, after Rafa spoke, I was expecting to hear like a mic drop. Real quick, man. I was expecting to hear a mic drop. I mean, what else can I say? The Egyptian pharaoh, the Egyptian king, and then for me, I think judging from the things I've said about these players, I'm always interested in a journeyman. I'm always interested in someone who defies the odds. I'm always interested in someone who a lot of people counted out and a lot of people probably felt was maybe overvalued, and he wasn't really rated until he did it consistently.
Yeah,
And then he did it consistently, and then he's like, I'm going to keep doing it. So what else do you have to say? Really, what else do you have to say? Because I think all the critics are now quiet. There's really nothing you can say. A Premier League
Mhm.
trophy, a Champions League
true.
trophy, Carabao Cups, FA Cups, what UEFA Super Cup. Um, then what about those individual records? I don't need to go into it because he's been consistent. The ridiculous number of games he has played, the ridiculous number of double figures in goals and assists every season, being a clutch player. No, it's what else can I say? Mohamed Salah is the best right winger in the Premier League and has been the best right winger in the Premier League since he stepped into the league. It's just that
Yes.
simple. It's King Mo.
Yeah, shout out to Musala. I also have him as my pick. Imagine after the producer has, Musala as unanimous. I just mentioned somebody else. Well, that could never happen. That could never happen. We're all on the same page. And we know that King Mo is the best right winger in the Premier League. So yeah, I believe that brings us to the end of another fantastic and fun episode of the TME podcast. Thank you guys for joining us. Like the video if you enjoyed this, and let us know your opinions in the comments. Subscribe and hit the bell to be notified of our next episode, where we'll be discussing the Premier League's best strikers. Have a great week, everyone, and thank you so much.